Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jai Hind, and welcome to Khan Global Studies. So, I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening, Aryan. Good evening, Nivedita. Good evening, Suraj. So, I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good evening. Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session. So, today we are meeting for the last time in this year. This is going to be our last meeting of the year. So tell me how it has been there in this entire year, how all the things have been there in the last 1 year. I hope this year has been good for you. Like every time there is something good, something is challenging for all of us. So I hope this year has been quite good for you. We will have that Happy New Year wishes at the end of the session. So tell me how this year has been for you. Thank you, Akshat. So first of all, welcome everyone to the session. And in today's session, we are going to see certain topics. Like one of the topic which we are going to see today is about India being the fourth largest economy. The government has now given this official information that India has become the fourth largest economy of the world. There was a projection of IMF in the month of April, May 2025 itself that India has become the fourth largest economy, but now officially the government has also said that India has surpassed Japan to become the fourth largest economy, and by 2030, by surpassing Germany, India is going to become the third largest economy of the world. So this is one thing which has been said by the government officially now. So we will talk about it. We will talk about the pollution part also. There is a very important dimension here which has been added with respect to pollution. There is a very important dimension, so we are going to talk about that. Then we will talk about malaria elimination target, and we will also talk about the places in news, that is Somaliland. Okay. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. But before we go into that, we are going to discuss some of the questions. We are going to discuss some of the questions. The first one is here. The first one is here that if there were no Aravalli ranges, what would have been the most likely impact on India? Higher chances of pollution in Delhi NCR region, westward expansion of the Thar desert, and intense rainfall in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Intense rainfall in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, westward expansion of Thar desert, higher chances of pollution in Delhi NCR region. सर गवर्नमेंट पर कैपिटा इनकम को एम्फेसिस क्यों नहीं देती है? देखो क्यों नहीं देती है, दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट चैलेंजिंग थिंग टू आंसर, दैट व्हाई द गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट डूइंग सो. Obviously, the reason is our per capita income is not so good. If we look at the GDP figure, it looks quite good. It gives a quite positive picture that India is the fourth largest economy of the world. If we just look at it, it gives us a good picture, a good vibe. But when we talk about the per capita income, we would be on a very lower rank. That's why perhaps A option, B option, C option. B option is 1 and 3. Okay. So I think this is one part which all of you have eliminated, that is westward expansion of the Thar Desert. This is one thing which is incorrect. It may be eastward expansion, but this is not westward expansion. So yes, of course, option 2 has to be eliminated. The first part is correct here, that higher chances of pollution in Delhi NCR region because the dust from this area will encircle, will come more and more in Delhi NCR region. So that first part is correct. Now second part, intense rainfall in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Now there has been certain discussion about this, that it may have an impact, but in fact what we see that there is no such direct linkage between rainfall in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh with respect to Aravallis. See why? The Himalayas are like this, Aravallis are like this. Aravallis are running parallel to this area. The winds which are coming, they are going parallel to Aravallis. The winds which are going even from the southwest monsoon, they are running parallel to Aravallis. They are not intersected by Aravallis. They are not slowed down by Aravallis. So Aravalli is not playing any such role in breaking the monsoon or slowing down the monsoon in case of Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So that's why this one part is not correct, that there will be intense rainfall if Aravallis are not there. Yes, there is one thing which is sure. If Aravalli is not there, then you will find that dust and everything, they will go to Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Now, this may cause melting of ice in the glacier. This may disturb the climatic patterns over there, but there is no such direct causal link between the rainfall in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand with respect to Aravallis. Okay. So this is one part which we see here. Now, higher chances of pollution in Delhi NCR region. Yes. Why this is so? See, the simple thing is, when we are looking at Aravallis, the western disturbances or other things which are coming from Thar Desert. Now look at this. Aravallis are like this part. Now the winds which are coming here, towards the eastern or Delhi NCR region, they are somewhat stopped by Aravallis. That's why we see that eastward expansion of Thar Desert is also being prevented. The eastward expansion of Thar Desert is also prevented. The dust from the Thar Desert, the dust from the Thar region is also being prevented by the Aravallis. Okay. So that's why the first option is correct here. So only one will be the correct option. Okay. The flood possibilities due to a different region, that there may be an issue. That there will be melting of ice. Glacial lake outburst flood. These things may happen due to this Aravallis. When Aravalli is not there, more and more dust and sandstorm may get accumulated over there. So this is one thing which may happen with respect to Aravallis. Okay. Glacial lake outburst flood situation can arise. Glacial lake outburst flood situation may arise in case of Aravallis. Now, coming to the second part, the non-performing assets of Indian banks have been declining in the last decade. The Indian banks have reduced credit supply to the Indian corporates in the last 1 decade. The Indian banks have reduced credit supply to the Indian corporates in last 1 decade. So question number 2. Now, initially it was told even in the newspapers and everything, it was there, Chandresh, it was a prediction in many of the newspapers and other things also that it may become a source of rainfall, a high rainfall in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. So in fact, in the beginning, there were many such news articles and others which were also saying that, but later on it came to the picture that no, there will no such greater impact in Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. Question number 2. A option, C option. Now, just to give you a context here, the Indian banks have reduced credit supply to Indian corporates. That has been something which is true, around 56 to 35%. Okay. Indian banks have been reducing the credit supply to the Indian corporates in the last 1 decade. Why? One of the major thing is the cautionary approach. One of the major factor which has been there is the cautionary approach of Indian banks. Indian banks have been taking a cautionary approach. They have been providing more credit. They have been providing more credit to retail, through retail or individuals. They have been providing more credit to retail and individuals, but they have been providing the lesser credit to the Indian corporates. For the Indian corporates, availing credit from Indian banks in the last 1 decade has become one of the challenges. For small sectors, for small micro industries, it has become easier. But for the large corporates which are there, it has become quite a challenging task. Okay. So this is one thing which we see. This one part is correct. This one part is correct. Now I have given you this context. Now can you tell me what can be the answer to this question? After this context, what can be the answer? What can be the answer now? It's true that Indian banks have been reducing the supply of credit. This one part is correct now, that Indian banks have been reducing the supply of credit. So now in this context, what will be correct one now? Okay. A option and B option. So 50-50, the house is divided. Now, if you look at this, just see here. The Indian banks have reduced credit supply. This is one of the factor. This is one of the factor of decline in NPA. This is one of the factors of declining NPA. This has been one of the factors of declining NPA, because NPA is something which is just for 90 days. So it will be on the basis of new credits. It is something which is going to be on the basis of new credit supply. So credit supply has become smaller. Credit supply has become quite less. Like it has come down from 56% to 35%. So if credit supply is going down, it means automatically NPA will also come down. So A option will be the correct answer here. How many of the following provisions, have provisions with respect to conservation of environment and biodiversity? Directive Principles of State Policy, Environment Protection Act 1986, and Fundamental Duties. How many of the following have provisions with respect to the conservation of environment and biodiversity? सर हिंदी में नहीं पढ़ाते हो क्या? हिंदी में भी मैं पढ़ाता हूं, लेकिन 6 बजे पढ़ाता हूं. Mohit, at 6 p.m. you can join KGS IAS Hindi. At 6 p.m. on KGS IAS Hindi, we would be discussing the same current affairs in Hindi. Question number 3. What will be the correct answer here? Question number 3. 3 is easy question. I think all of you can answer this one quite easily. B option. So tell me which one is not correct. Which of them is not correct? Is there a provision of Indian Constitution in DPSP? नहीं, Article 48A. Article 48A. It talks about the conservation of environment. 48A, it is talking about the conservation of environment and biodiversity. So first one is correct, second one is correct, fundamental duties is also correct. So our correct answer here will be option number C, all 3. The option number 3 will be the correct one. Fundamental duties are also asking for the citizens to conserve, to safeguard the forest, wildlife, lakes, everything. So even our fundamental duties, Environment Protection Act, as well as the directive principles of state policy are talking about conservation of environment. So Article 48A, that is there. New addition has been there in 1972. In 1972, this was the addition, directive principles of state policy. So C answer will be the correct answer. Now, so now coming to this one part. So now we see that India has become the 4th largest economy. Okay. And what is being said that GDP at present, this is something around 4.18 trillion. We have a GDP of 4.18 trillion. Then, if we talk about India, we are having the 4th rank. Germany, this is having the 3rd rank. Then we have China, this is having the 2nd rank, and then we have United States at the 1st position. United States is there at the 1st position. When we talk about Japan, Japan is at the 5th position. Japan is the 5th position. It has also been said that India is going to become the 3rd largest economy. 3rd largest economy, possibly by 2030, possibly by 2030, or even before that. It has been said that in a few years, our GDP is going to reach up to $7.3 trillion. Our GDP is going to become something around 7.3 trillion by 2030. At this time, our GDP will be 7.3 trillion, and we will be surpassing Germany. We would be surpassing Germany. We would be taking the position of the 3rd largest economy of the world. Okay. So this is the first part, that what is India's position with respect to GDP in the present times. So here we have US. You can see US is having a GDP of around 30 trillion. Look at this. It is around 30 trillion. Now China is something around 20 trillion. China is something around 20 trillion as of now. China is something which is becoming the 20 trillion. Okay. First largest economy कब बनेंगे? So look at this. This is 30 trillion and this is 4 trillion. The size of US economy is just like 7 times bigger than that of India. The size of US economy is 7 times bigger than Indian economy. The size of Chinese economy is near about 5 times bigger as compared to India. Even the Chinese economy is 5 times bigger than India. So that's a very distant goal. That is something which is a very distant goal. Now, yes, we can be the third largest economy in the next 5 years. In any way, we are going to be there. In any manner, we are going to be there. That's not a major thing. Okay. We are going to be there as the third largest economy. That's correct. But at the same time, if you look at India, despite being the fourth largest economy of the world, the poverty in India is something which you can see on the streets of India. You can go to any of the cities in India and you will see that how much GDP is there on the streets. So, diarchy in this case, diarchy was related to British times. Diarchy was something which was related to British times. Dual control. There were certain transferred subjects, reserved subjects. So this is one part. Now from the next year perspective, if you look at this, there are certain new things which are going to be there. The new series of GDP with base year from 2020 to 23 is going to be released on 27th Feb 2026. So we will have a new base year as 2022. So our new GDP series is going to be released from 27th Feb 2026. The new series of CPI, Consumer Price Index, is also going to be released with a base year of 2024. And the new series of IIP, Index of Industrial Production, that is also going to be released in the next year. So this is one thing which you have to tell. Who releases CPI, Consumer Price Index, and who is releasing the Index of Industrial Production? Who is publishing these two things? These two things are published by which organization? CPI and IIP. Who is responsible for publishing? Who is responsible for publishing the Consumer Price Index in India? Can you tell me this one part? Who is responsible for publication of Consumer Price Index in India? Any idea about this? Consumer Price Index. And at the same time, we have the second question. Who is responsible for production of Index of Industrial Production? NSO and MOSPI. सर आपने देखा अब ये चाइना मीडिएट करेगा इंडिया पाकिस्तान टेंशन? नहीं, ऐसा तो मैंने कहीं नहीं. So it is NSO. That is correct. NSO is there, which is responsible. Sorry, NSO under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It is going to be the one authority which is responsible for this. So that is correct. Now, coming to this one article, which is quite significant one. There is one thing called as primary pollutant. There is one thing called as primary pollutant. See this one thing. There is one thing called as primary pollutant. And there is something called as secondary pollutant. Secondary pollutant. So primary pollutant is something which is directly released in the air. It is something which is directly released in air. It is something which is directly released in air. Like for example, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, okay. It can be nitrogen dioxide, etc. But then there is certain things which are secondary pollutants. These are certain things which are formed in the atmosphere, which are formed in atmosphere due to chemical reactions. Due to chemical reactions. So there are certain things, for example, ozone. Ozone is something which is formed in the atmosphere. Ozone is something which is formed in the atmosphere. Volatile organic compounds, they are also formed in the atmosphere. For example, the volatile organic compounds, ozone, etc. Even PAN, peroxyacetyl nitrate. These are certain things which are formed in the atmosphere. They are called as secondary pollutant. Now here we are going to specifically talk about one thing called as particulate matter. Particulate matter, PM particles. Particulate matter or PM particles. These are dust particles. Most of them, they are believed to be a primary pollutant. Generally, it is being believed that they are primary pollutant. They are directly released into the atmosphere by burning of certain things, like the dust which is generated from the roadside or the vehicles or the industries or from the coal-based thermal plants, coal-based thermal power plants. So from these areas, there is direct release of particulate matter as a primary pollutant. But now we see that there is a secondary source of particulate matter. There is a secondary source of particulate matter. There is something which is called as a secondary source of particulate matter. And what is that secondary source? How this secondary source is coming? Let us try to see this one by one. Let us try to see this one by one. How this secondary pollutant. See here, we have one thing called as coal-based thermal power plant. We are having one thing called as coal-based thermal power plant. So this is something which is releasing sulfur dioxide. Okay. And then we have also the release of ammonia. We also have the release of ammonia from the agricultural fields. Agricultural fields. This is releasing ammonia. This is getting converted in form of sulfate. This becomes sulfate. And ammonia plus sulfate combine together to form ammonium sulfate. Ammonium sulfate. And this ammonium sulfate, this one is acting as particulate matter. This is a solid thing. This is a solid substance which is generated in the air itself. So see here, we have one side coal-based thermal power plant. They are releasing sulfur dioxide. Now this sulfur dioxide, it gets converted in the form of sulfate. From the agricultural fields and the livestock, agricultural fields or the livestock, there is release of ammonia. And ultimately, we see that ammonia plus sulfate in the atmosphere forms the ammonium sulfate, which is acting as a particulate matter. So this is a secondary source of particulate matter in the atmosphere. So this has also emerged as a very important pollutant in multiple cities across the country. In multiple cities across the country. So, like generally in the NCRTs, in other books, you will not be finding this as of now. But this is something which is a new addition to your environment pollution topic. This is something which is a new addition to your environment pollution topic, that in Indian cities, there is one more thing, ammonium sulfate, which is a secondary pollutant. It is a particulate matter which is floating in the atmosphere, and it is again a source of health problems. Last to last week, we have also talked about inhalable plastics. We have talked about inhalable plastics, or the microplastics in the atmosphere, in the air. We have seen that study that in our air there is inhalable plastics also. And now there is a new thing, that is ammonium sulfate, which is like a particulate matter circulating in our atmosphere. I hope this is clear. PAN and VOC. PAN is peroxyacetyl nitrate and VOC stands for volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds. So that is our second topic. Now coming to the third part. Okay. Health issues created by it, like all the health issues which we have seen, asthma, bronchitis, the respiratory problems which are there, they are the common ones. Particulate matters are generally responsible for these problems. Okay. Now we are coming to the third topic, malaria elimination. Okay. So Union Minister of Home Affairs has said that India has achieved a 97% reduction in the malaria cases and is close to eliminating the disease. Okay. So it has been said that India has reduced malaria cases by 97%. India has been able to reduce this by 97%. So we have discussed about malaria multiple times. Okay. So this is certain thing which is caused due to plasmodium. Okay. It is something which is caused due to plasmodium. Plasmodium, which is a parasite. We have seen Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum, and multiple other variants are there which are responsible for this malaria. It is generally a spread, like mode of a spread. If we talk about this, there is one mosquito, the Anopheles mosquito. Anopheles mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito. This is the one which is responsible for infection from malaria. When we talk about infection from malaria, this is generally infecting the liver and can also have blood infection, can also cause infection in the uterus. Okay. So these or can be transferred to the child also. And at the same time, it can be impacting the liver of other persons as well. So generally it is impacting the liver. Malaria is something which is generally impacting the liver of the human body. Now recently, if you all have been following the news articles, you may have seen that there are certain vaccines for the prevention of this malaria. Can you tell me what are the vaccines which are there for prevention of malaria? What are the vaccines which are there for the prevention of malaria? There is like a Indian vaccine also. There is an Indian vaccine also which was recently like promoted by ICMR. It was recently promoted by ICMR. But apart from this, there are WHO approved international vaccines. So can you give me some names of the vaccines which are there for malaria? Any vaccine which you are aware about? There is one thing called as R21 matrix M. R21 matrix M vaccine. This is globally approved by WHO. It has been developed by Oxford University and Serum Institute of India. Then we have RTS AS01. RTS AS01. This is also a vaccine which is there. There is an Indian vaccine, but there is also a recent Indian vaccine also. Yes, Adfalcivax. Adfalcivax. This is also a vaccine which is there for, this is the Indian version. This is the Indian vaccine which is there for prevention of malaria. Which is there for prevention of malaria. Okay. Yes, Mosquirix is also there. So in the recent times, we have seen that this RTSS, this is the one which is called as Mosquirix. This is one thing which is called as Mosquirix. This is Matrix M and this is Mosquirix. Mosquirix. Okay. So when we look at this, these two are globally approved vaccines, R21 Matrix M and RTSS AS01, or simply Mosquirix vaccine. We also have an Indian vaccine in that regard, Adfalcivax. Adfalcivax, which is mostly targeting a special Plasmodium falciparum. Plasmodium falciparum, it is being targeted by this vaccine, Adfalcivax. Okay. Now, when we talk about India, just look at the data. Okay. Like, India is no longer among the top 11 high burden countries. Okay. So, India has exited from WHO's high burden, high intensity list. Malaria cases has reduced by 80% from 11.69 lakh in 2015 to 2.27 lakhs in 2023. Okay. Then recent times we have seen that in 2025 there is a 97% decline. There is a decline of 97%. So we are further much ahead in this race. Okay. So annual blood examination rate, it has improved from 9.58 to 11.62. There are 122 districts in India which has reported zero malaria cases. So this is one thing, like Ladakh, Lakshadweep and Puducherry, they have got zero indigenous cases in 2023. Okay. Ladakh, Lakshadweep and Puducherry, they have recorded zero indigenous cases in 2023. So there are certain states, certain parts of India which are on the way to be declared free from malaria. In the recent 10 years, in the last 10 years, there has been a significant decline in the cases of malaria in India. So vaccines plus information among people, timely treatment, these all things are the factors which are responsible behind this possible elimination of malaria in India. So that is malaria, which is again going to be removed. Okay. Now tell me one thing. Tell me this one thing. Is there any disease which has been recently eliminated from India? Any such disease which has been recently eliminated from India? Disease which has been recently. Is there any such disease which has been recently eliminated from India? Do you have any idea about this? Is there any such disease which has been recently eliminated from India? Polio was eliminated way back in 2016. Polio has been eliminated a long time back. Yes. Not polio, it is trachoma. Polio is something which has been eliminated a long time back. Long time ago, polio has been eliminated. The recently eliminated one is trachoma. Trachoma. This is something which has been recently eliminated. And we are also watching out for cases of Kala Jar. Kala Jar. We are also looking for elimination. Although this has not been eliminated yet, but India is on the way for elimination of Kala Jar also in India. Okay. So trachoma, this is something which has been eliminated. Kala Jar has not been eliminated. Okay. Now, coming to this part, now the next one article which we have, that while we were going through all this, Israel has become the first country in the world to formally give recognition to Somaliland. There is one such area called as Somaliland. Okay. So Israel has become the first country to formally recognize Somaliland as independent nation. So you can see here in the map, this is Somalia. This is one such area which has been claimed to be Somaliland. This is one such area which is claimed to be Somaliland. In the past also, we have discussed about this one location. Why? There was a dispute with respect to Somalia and Ethiopia. There is a dispute between Somalia and Ethiopia. Why? Somalia has been saying that Ethiopia is favoring the rebel group which are based in Somaliland or this location. So Somaliland, this is something which is being claimed by the rebel group over here, that this is an independent nation, and Israel has given this as an independent nation. Israel has given this a tag of independent nation. So this is Somalia. Okay. There is this portion which is disputed area, and Somaliland is claiming even this portion. When this portion, it has been called as Puntland. Okay. So here if we look at this, Somalia is this country. Somalia is this country, and there is a demand of Somaliland. Here you can see we have Djibouti, Ethiopia. Djibouti is there, Ethiopia is there, and this side Somalia is there. So this is part of the Horn of Africa. This is part of the Horn of Africa. So you can see this one thing. There can be a question about this one part also, that which countries are part of Horn of Africa? Which of the countries are part of Horn of Africa? So I think you can give me answer of this one also. I think you all can give me the answer of this one question also, that which countries are part of Horn of Africa? Horn of Africa. सर एक दिक्कत आती है प्रिपरेशन में, दिन के इनिशियल स्टडी आवर्स अफेक्ट होते हैं तो पूरा दिन वेस्ट हो जाता है, जैसे सिर्फ 30% स्टडी हो पाती है. यस, तो try to remove those factors which are disturbing you in the daytime, in the initial hours. What leads to the disturbance? Try to find out that thing and eliminate it. Plus, there is one more thing. Like suppose that don't divide or don't take the entire day as one single unit. Try to take the day as two parts. That even if one part is somewhat wasted, the another part can be seen as the second day or second part of it. So try to make it two-part thing. You can do that part also. If there is frequent disruption and you cannot get rid of this, try to consider day as of two parts. Yes, four parts are there. Four countries are there. Somalia is there. Djibouti is there. Ethiopia is there. Eritrea is there. Okay. Eritrea is there. So here we have Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Eritrea. So these are the nations. These are the nations which are part of Horn of Africa. Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Somalia. Four countries are there which are part of this Horn of Africa. So these were some of the topics for today. Okay. Yes, you can do that. You can divide in sections. You can divide the day into sections. And see, it is all about the mindset. It is all about the mindset. Okay. If you decide that you have to do it anyhow, if you decide this, that you have to do it anyhow, then it doesn't matter. Most of the time, you will find that all the problems which we think about, many of these things are just a part and parcel of our mindset. So if you are able to take a control over that, then you would be able to solve all your problems. So at the end of the year, at the end of the session, this is one question which I am leaving for you. Try to give the answer for this in the comment box. I have gone through some of your resolution. Like some of you have mentioned about your achievements in 2025 and challenges and everything. So I have gone through that. Okay. So don't think that I am not reading it. I am reading it on regular basis. All the things which you write about your experiences and everything, I read it on daily basis. Only some of you have given this answer. Most of you have given answers for the question, but you have not told me about the experiences which you have got in 2025. Okay. Now this is one question for which you have to give the answer in the comment box. And yes, so tell me, what is your new year resolution? सर ये नेचुरल फैक्टर है, जैसे आज सुबह बारिश हुई तो उसमें अफेक्ट हुआ, तो बारिश हुई तो उससे अफेक्ट क्यों हुए? Why are you affected due to rainfall? सर हम लोग यहाँ पढ़ रहे हैं और कुछ लोग न्यू ईयर की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, तो आई एम ऑल्सो देयर विथ यू. I am also there with you. Some people might be going on for different locations or doing different things, but I am here with you. So if I am here with you, I am also like giving you the current affairs in the evening of 31st. So you should also be preparing. एग्जाम है कल हिस्ट्री का. गुड. लेस टाइम ऑन स्क्रीन. ओके. एग्जाम है कल हिस्ट्री का. गुड दिशा, गुड. देखो, हिस्ट्री इज समथिंग which is of the past. So if you know about 2025, आप क्या ट्राई करने वाले हैं कल? कल क्या ट्राई करने वाले हैं? Like not just tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be mostly taking like just a little bit here from here to there, moving across some parts of Delhi. And not tomorrow, like tomorrow it will be mostly family time. But day after tomorrow, then something new, maybe. I missed the class from the beginning. The class runs from Monday to Friday. Class runs from Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. सर बताइए ऐसा कोई करता है ईयर के फर्स्ट डे एग्जाम? देखो कितनी अच्छी बात है, यू हैव टू गिव द एग्जाम ऑन द फर्स्ट डे, तो प्रोडक्टिव यूज ऑफ द डे। नहीं, देयर इज नो सच क्लास फॉर टुमारो। मराठी, हाँ, आई विल ट्राई टू गेट समथिंग न्यू दिस ईयर। Acha, you don't have to worry about that, Nishant, for a long period of time. Maybe they will announce retirement very soon. So don't worry about it. Mid 2026 marriage. Okay, congratulations. कल अच्छे से खाना खाऊंगा। नहीं, actually it's not so good for me. The reason is recently, like a few days back, there was death of my grandmother. No such new plans this year, especially on the new year. There is no such new plan. A few days back, there was death of grandmother. That's why there is no such new. And again, like no hairs after tomorrow. So that is the reason. Okay, so let's meet then in the 2nd January class. Okay. So let's meet with you. I will meet with you all on 2nd of January, and then we will discuss new current affair topics. Okay. So thank you everyone. Okay. So just one thing, Anta asti prarambha. The end is the new beginning. Okay. So whatever things are there in the past, let's forget it. Let's start with something new from the next year. So that is a very wrong question, Vineet. You should have asked me that 1 year back. Okay. And if you are asking me that in public forum, that is a challenge for me. If someone else sees that comment, that will become a challenge for me. Okay. Thank you everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you. Happy New Year and take care of yourself.